Daily Broadside, a 978. There's a reason that some, grocery stores are a little bit more expensive than others. The Harris Teeters and the Publix's, Publi, whatever the plural of that is. The reason that they're more expensive is there is a nominal fee that you pay for your groceries to not have to shop around people wearing their damn pajamas out in public. So it's what you got to do. So those low rent stores where people are rolling around in bedroom slippers and stuff, that's not good. It's not good for anybody, really. I watched the True Detective season 1 for about the 20th time Saturday into Sunday, I guess. And I think that Reggie Ledoux should have had a much bigger part. He seemed like an interesting character. If anybody's got a noose tattooed around their neck, 6'8", he's got all this stuff going on for him, and then they just go in and they just smoke him, and he's just done. He has like 2 minutes of screen time. Time is a flat circle. I think we should have explored his character a little bit more. And, there's videos going around where it's like you ask your spouse, the women are like, honey, would you punch me in the face for $1 million? And they're like, yes, I would punch, yes, like hard, and everybody just answers in the affirmative. And I don't know why you'd even ask that, because everybody, almost just about everybody would do that. Because I don't know. First of all, we have to realize, are we pulling the punch, or we got to like lay you out like as hard as we can? Because if that's the case, we're still going to do it, but there's probably going to be some reconstructive surgery because, I'm going to break your jaw. You're going to lose a couple teeth. Women don't typically have a good chin. So, it's going to be kind of destructive. But, when you come out of your coma, we're going to have a lot of money. It's for us. I'm doing this for us. You're doing this for us. We're doing this for us. It's just it's a no-brainer. Now, the question is, some of them are like $1 billion, some of them are 3 million. Obviously, if it's $1 million or more, that's just we're doing it. We're in. Like brace yourself, don't clench your jaw. Whatever. But the question is if I can't pull my punch and I got to hit you full force, what's the lowest amount that's acceptable for something like that? And I guess it just depends on what your level of debt is. If you owe $70,000, then, maybe a $20,000 punch isn't really worth your time, but, maybe you pump it up to $100,000. I don't know what your bottom dollar is, but, and I've been thinking about it this evening, if I had to punch a significant other, for a large sum of money. First of all, I'd have to make sure that she was cool with it. I'd sit her down. It would be like when Robert Redford approached Demi Moore and Woody Harrelson was like, I'd like to sleep with your wife for $1 million. Speaking of which, I don't know why that was like a big deal in that movie as to whether or not it was morally acceptable for him to sleep with her. The movie is called Indecent Proposal, so it can't be a decent moral proposal. You know what I mean? Like, they answered the question for us. Why are we even debating that? But it would be like that, like where we sit, we go back up to our hotel room. We're like, all right, here's the deal. If we do this, there's no turning back, blah, blah, blah. We'd have to discuss it as a couple and come to an agreement. And if she's not willing to get punched in the face, probably just going to have to sucker punch her because we're still doing it. No, I'm just kidding. No, but you know what I mean? Like, you'd have to come to some kind of agreement and get on the same page. And then once you did, you'd have to, brace her for, like, you've probably never been punched by a man before. Hopefully you haven't. Maybe you've been slapped by a girl in school. I don't know, but it's not going to be the same thing. Like, this is going to hurt. Like, I'm probably going to lay you out. If I got to hit you with full force, it's just, it's not going to be pretty, because especially if you know how to throw a punch, And again, maybe I can throw it. I can pull the punch. I ain't gotta get my hips into it and really, dig in. Who's judging this really? Who's the boxing criteria by which, we determine if you didn't hit her hard enough, go again. That kind of thing. Like, she's really not gonna like the second one. If I pull the first one, she's gonna like, good Lord, that hurt. I'm like, yeah, buckle up there, Buttercup, because he said I didn't hit you hard enough. We gotta like really lay you out. Your jaws can probably be wired shut. I apologize, but I will get you some really good soups and broths. We'll try to let them see if they can leave a gap in your back teeth. We can slip some grapes in there or some yogurt or something, but as a treat, But But yeah, I think that's a no brainer, and there's no need for us to even be talking about it, even though I've just talked about it for about 5 minutes. So there's that. You get on the same page, you do it with love, and it's up to you. You got to take some time off from work after you do it, because it's your responsibility to take care of her. Changing her bandages. When she gets her stitches out, help her. Go to the bathroom. Like, if how, I don't know how debilitated she's gonna be. But it's gonna be ugly, one way or the other, because most men are just born punchers. Not born punchers in that they know how to throw a punch. It's just that we're looking for something to punch sometimes. And that may sound bad, but when you grow up fighting, as girls don't tend to do, you're always ready to punch something. So you got that going for you in a weird way. Not that you're just a violent creature, but you're always ready to defend yourself, or overtly and obnoxiously punch someone for a large sum of money. But to answer my question, I think I'm somewhere at I think I'm at like 150 grand would be my minimum fee for laying out someone that I dearly love. And it's not going to be pretty. I'm not going to enjoy it by any means. I mean, maybe like if we film it in like Jackass 4D or whatever it was, where they had the camera that shot like 8,000 frames a second. Like, if we film it in like that, one day we'll sit down, with our kids and watch it in slow-mo, where you're just like, and her tooth is like flying out of her mouth. We'll one day get to the point where we laugh about it. But for now, it's not funny. We're just doing it to, make ourselves more solvent than we hopefully already are, and have a nest egg for some generational wealth to pass on to our children or our loved ones when we pass on, which could be because you get an infection in your jaw because I split it open. I don't know. I don't know. I'm just saying. There's that. There's a lot to think about. But it'll be done with love. A lot of love. Don't go changing. Try to please me. Y'all have a good one. Hey, Giddy.